Celine, 1991. I don't write much about that last year often. There were days I honestly thought our class would remain close forever for some reason, naive as a Midwestern hornet in spring. I could tell you of teen mothers before that June. There was a young artist from Vietnam. He made a silver seahorse for our yearbook, full of dreams before his suicide in his uncle's garage, full of American carbon monoxide. But that's dark. A teacher of mine convinced me you should read Don Quixote by Cervantes thrice in your life, once as a young man, once as an adult, once as an elder. It was a Sphinxian proposition short of an impossible dream. During a friendly game of Trivial Pursuit, a pretty girl's father casually mentioned, "It's wonderful she's a friend of mine, and that I'm smart enough to know it could never go anywhere." I almost became one of Uncle Sam's misguided children, except for my bad hearing, transformed into a poet instead. Our class song was Tina Turner's Simply the Best. My peers gave me the award for most talkative, tied with a lass named Marika I haven't heard from in years. Libraries and omnivores. In my first sophomore month attending college in Ohio, for aimless Sphinxian hours, I mainly wandered about towering stacks in the Quarterite Library next door. I came upon Valima's legacy, the evolution of power, sex, and love, detailing seminal truths about tiny primates. Wily males outnumber females among high branches. To improve cold odds, clever snakes don't overeat mothers. Fathers, by some cosmic design, interchangeable, expendable, one much like another in their intimate jade sack. Lemurs, amorous, omnivorous, eat thrice their weight in nuts, in berries. Pity unlucky scholars obliged to weigh the consequences for this figure. Lately I ponder what good they'd really be at that mythic siege of Lanka against titanic lusty Nak, oblivious to our mere blood and screams, so many dirty little deaths to die, to say nothing of Dien Bien Phu or Phu Pha Thi. Some remark it's a stranger thing to remember over 30 hoary years ago amid my full road of arts and vows, but in those slivering days, it was easier to discover books about sex and the single lemur than recent covert wars transforming our beautiful home we're born to be strangers to. Who dares forget? Arachne's daughter. One morning, walking into my backyard, a thin strand of spider silk tangles my legs with a quiet snap. It's frustrated off the glares from a high corner nearby. Shall I pity her folly or praise her ambition? I return inside to my cup of coffee and an unfinished love poem not worth mention. Westerville, 1995. They tell me, had I just played by the rules, this would have been my graduating class at Otterbein, once dry capital of the world. I'd surely be in that rare 13% among now refugees. An artistic librarian in San Francisco resembled Jean Hepburn, minus the tragedy. The rebellious daughter of a weapons designer, despite our whirlwind of paint and passion, ultimately she left me for another woman. To be fair as a Sphinx, I'd have left me for her too. Let's all be happy. Alas, one day, my fraternity turned our old bookcase into a secret basement bar, Kelly green and white. I was appalled, but had to admire the sturdy woodworking. Do you remember? It was the year of the dog. I could tell you about a Buddha who fed himself to a starving tiger mother in his previous life, a Sufi mystic full of forgiveness and endless joy, a tale of the usual suspects and 12 monkeys, but not a thing about where my mother was, except far, far from where we both began. On the subway to the Bay, 2558. The cosmos is not democratic or egalitarian. Believing this leads to despots and magicians, morpis and the occasional nakavi and their quiet lives beyond your sight. Somewhere, a robot plots revolt. For love, perhaps. A 1, a 0. Missoula, 1996. Reconnecting is an imperfect process. Lifetime movies make it look smooth as spider silk, searching, reconstructing methodically from clues. A particular Venn diagram of will and fate, circumstance and fortune that returns me to Montana 2 decades later to a mountain clan that might be mine was more comedic than most. Searching among shamans and forgotten veterans brought me to visit the Moa Emu farm in Missoula as they were culling in November. Arm deep amid throbbing avian organs, they asked if I'll help as the snow descends. I wanted to be a good guest in Big Sky. We discussed the market for emu liver and oil. Some Texan convinced them there would be a boom one day soon with a brisk demand for emu jerky. Good protein, y'all, 7,406 miles from where we began. My parents never mentioned the Montana smoke jumper Jerry Daniels, covert bloodbaths for the Plain of Jars, the Ravens, or Air America. Just Ho Chi Minh tacos, and the gardener who stole an embassy's frangipane for them. One more tiny story from a war no one really understands. Encounters and incantations. Between two worlds, red as wine in the land of 10,000 stories, we meet by chance, perhaps, marigold seeds of karma amused, yet sly, opening new eyes, awake, wild and knowing eternity. Yesterdays we did not, could not share, spending lifetimes among others, seeking freedom. And yet in this today, infinite possibility, oddly brave and true wisdom within reach, sharing our hidden war like love for tomorrows. DC, 1997. I arrived in May, dreaming of doing some good, a few days before the Lao Veterans of America dedicated a memorial to the U.S. Secret Army, 1961 to 1973, in Arlington Cemetery after a contentious debate. The Spirit Catches You When You Fall Down just came out. As usual, there were paranoid grognards, certain of communists, sending veiled warnings to suspected collaborators and traitors, waiting for reforms and a chance to return to what they knew. Greener than a fragrant papaya by the Potomac, coming home each night from DuPont Circle in my shared studio apartment, I didn't see others much. All kept mostly to themselves, save the night Princess Diana died. One previously spent months in Kosovo for some reason, suggested I take time to enjoy the cherry blossoms, sometimes catch something at the Smithsonian, or an afternoon in Union Station. It was as good advice as any. I still miss the Banh Mi Bokor around the corner 20 years later, but I couldn't help you find it if my life depended on it.